summer. This is my first vlog, so I'm just going to be doing some garden chores and attempting to film while I do it. So the first thing that I've got to do is to clear out some of the stuff from this pile back here. This is where we put all our dead plants, right by the composter. So I just have to move some of these over to make a neater pile. Holding a phone in the other hand. But I have a rake to shovel, so I'm just going to try to prop the phone up. And I'm going to shovel these from here to a pile over there. So you can only see the top of the pile. I'm going to be moving some of this, including this rotten thing that used to be a hoe. Just going to move that to a separate spot. And there's a lot of dead vines, such as morning glory, in here. Some of it's still attached to the ground. This is where we put all our dead tomato vines after the summer. So, as it's now mid-October, they've already started to decompose a little bit. Gosh, that's a long vine. Out this area that's right here and moved all the plant matter over there. The next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to be harvesting some seeds from this ginormous thing of marigolds, as well as some, what were the other seeds that needed harvesting? Forget. Where are they? Oh yes, some kernels from these corn cobs. So, the construction next door has been up to some weirdness, and there's all this weird white stuff. So, these will not be, nothing in here would be very good for eating right now. Just going to continue to pick some of these marigolds. I had some marigolds hung up to dry, but there was a big rainstorm that knocked them down and kind of did the opposite of drying. There's a really pretty range in colors of these marigolds. I'm gonna set them in a pile on the table right here. Let's see. I had some dried marigolds that seem to have worked out okay. They feel pretty crisp and dry. I'm going to take them down. I'm going to open them up, try to separate the seeds, but it's kind of hard with one hand as my other hand is holding the camera. Yeah, so lots of seeds in there. They haven't rotted at all from the rain, so that's pretty good. I'm going to put these seeds in a plastic bag to dry, and then they'll be ready to use next spring, which is in reality only a few months away. It still feels like it's going to be a long time since winter hasn't even started yet. To do is to plant some of these bulbs. I'm not exactly sure where there's room, because we have the marigolds here, and then some more plants, more marigolds, elderberry, we have our tree. Back here is promising. This is where we usually have our vegetables. Then we have a potato plant that still hasn't been harvested there. The raspberries, more potatoes, some flowers, pot of potatoes. These were beans and lima beans and peas and green beans, but the lima beans have almost stopped their growing season. Let's see what one looks like inside. So they're still fairly small, so they probably could use longer, but I won't tear this out as it's still producing beans. Some mint in there, and some other bulbs that grew here. The flower heads have died off now. And this mountain mint was our grapevine, which has been incredibly delicious, it appears, to the spotted lanternflies. I don't know why there's so few. There's usually like a trillion bazillion on here, but yeah. So I'm gonna plant the bulbs probably back in the vegetable patch. Okay, to start, gonna clear this out. So let me set the camera in a better angle. Here we have the main spot that I'm going to plant the bulbs in. So first, I'm gonna take this tomato cage over here out. It's kind of tough, stuck in the ground. But I'll get this one over here. That was pretty easy. I'll put it over the compost pile. And now to get this one stuck down a little bit more. Still pretty easy to get out. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but I have a lot of this composted matter right here. So I'm going to throw that into the compost pile, which is actually right now behind the camera. I just have some weeds to pull. And another tomato structure, so I'm going to move that too. And now going to just clear out the leaves with the rake, as there's like a thick layer. Don't think you can see, but that's the ground right now. Ugh, camera spot's not very good. And now we have this nice spot of lots of undisturbed ground right there. So plant the bulbs right here. Just going to dig a pretty deep hole for bulbs. So gonna do around 6 inches. We want them to be nice and protected during the winter. So the deeper the better. But not too deep, otherwise they won't be able to grow. The soil is kind of compact here, but we've put our compost in it, so it's pretty nice and dark, with a lot of organic matter in it. That's about, there we go, that's about a nice hole. Now, I'm gonna take this bag of bulbs, gonna get this one, just gonna put it in, pretty deep in there. And just gonna pile that dirt. The hole's actually a lot deeper than it looks like it is on camera. Like, there is more dimension that is not picked up on. And I'm gonna bury it there. Now I'm gonna continue with the rest of the bulbs. The next garden chore I have is to take care of the composter, which we currently have, is this dead? A lanternfly that's living in it. Woo! Well, I guess they can still hop when their wings are wet. There's all this gross composty water and construction gunk all over it, but if you see, I'm just gonna roll it about till it settles with the door on top. This is the door. So this side over here is almost done. It needs a bit more paper. This side has a lot of paper, and it needs a little longer. This side needs more fibrous material, though. So I'm going to add these grass cuttings and assorted other plants that we've had to take from in there. And then, yeah, a few more. Yikes, this is messy. And I'll close it up and spin it about. And I'll just add more food scraps to it tomorrow. So the yard's looking pretty good. We've got pretty much everything ready. Winter. I have a few more marigolds to harvest. Some mint that I was planning to do a video on harvesting and making tea out of. But then there's construction dust everywhere. I have this celery plant that's still growing. It's just a little baby one. So next we bought these ears of corn. And so I'm just gonna open one up and take some of the kernels from it. Kind of tricky with just one hand, as my other hand is holding the camera. Don't have the system worked out yet, but this corn silk on top can be really good for starting a fire, as it's very flammable and fluffy. Set that there. And then I'll save the corn husks and compost them. Quite a few husks on here. Oh, and there is some more corn silk. So silky. It's really beautiful. I'm going to save that as well. Once dried, it'll be okay. And here we have the ear of corn. It's been exposed. And this is, I figured it would be feed corn, but it seems more like the kind intended for human consumption, so I don't know. But I'm gonna hang this up and dry it out, and then use some of the kernels and save them to plant. So we already have some herbs and marigolds drying from this, but yeah, that's what I'm gonna try to do. Using some garden twine to tie this up, and then I'm going to hang it from up here, but I'm gonna hang it towards the middle of the structure because the squirrels get to a lot of things, and this was on the side, which had easier access for them to climb to it, and there is not a single kernel left. So, also that pumpkin, it's a shame. Didn't get the other ones though. They got this corn too. But that's okay, this was just for decoration, it wasn't for saving. Piece in a triple knot around the corn. It's a pretty simple, standard triple knot. And now I'm going to thread this piece through there and hang it up, sort of almost like a basket handle. It's pretty stable, and it's got 2 strands coming from the top, which will help to keep it even. Also, there's like no way the squirrels, I mean, they'll find a way, but the corn that I put here to test has stayed completely squirrel-free, so in this area, it should be pretty safe. I was gonna put it over there, but that's proved not to be safe. Also, probably attaching it to the front would be okay, as both these ears have stayed good. Much for watching, and if you want to join me on my journey to self-sufficiency, please subscribe. Next week's video is going to be about sourdough starter and how you can make your own. Less videos as we approach winter because the garden will need less work, but come summer there'll be lots of vlogs. I'll be doing garden chores probably.